to the minutes of our October meeting? If not, in order to approve, motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 5,
You
I-
missed,
You missed the agenda.
you missed the agenda.
Approval.
oh, approve the agenda, that's good, because I need to add 2 things. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Jack Minch is also going to have the Ulmer spots update on our kiosk in addition to his Advent report on A. And item B, we're privileged to have Shane here, who is back from his stay in Germany, and he's going to address the group and give us the highlights of his, actually turned out to be, I think, 4 months in Germany. So now, can I have approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Give me a second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The financial report is next. The Legion fundraiser was held on October 14th, and we had revenue of $73 and tips of $68.50. The city is requiring us now to keep the tips on the financial statement, and so that was about 4 different dinners that were put on there. That
Now, are the tips, can we do things with the tips?
I still don't have clarification of that, but it turned into a big deal.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
kinda,
Bob is trying to be our advocate here, but it is all in the account, that's why the tips were so high. Off the city money, it's on the private money, just like we paid for the kiosk.
correct, but I
and-
know one of the reasons we were kinda keeping them
Yep.
aside was so that we could do like flowers or whatever, and we still don't know if we can do that.
We don't,
Okay.
but we have an advocate who's got a corner office working on the problem.
In the Oval Office, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of rectangular.
Let me call your attention to one number on the R fund, the Special Projects Fund, and that's the $10,128 that we still have left of money raised through fundraisers at the Brat Stand. That's gonna come into play when Jack gives his report. So if you just wanna circle that on the,
Spend
Are
all
you
of
gonna
it.
spend it?
on the sheet with the gray heading, is mostly from the Brat Stand and Legion and things like that over the years. Now is there a motion to approve the financial report?
I move we do that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I will turn the floor over to Jack to tell us about the Advent calendar, and then he will go on to the kiosk.
Okay, I've been working on the Advent calendar to get it finished, and tonight we're hopefully going to approve the cost for it. A little bit different, when I was talking to the guy who was making them, we were talking about 2 different projects at the time. So I'm going to first show you what we all have here. It's going to be the pictures that were there. This would be the first one. I have this right underneath. It says it's for the Sister Cities Commission. This business is sponsoring. It's got the date, so this would be December 1st. So we got the Ulm Minster, and you have here in front of it the Christmas market, so it's the Ulm Christmas Market. We have here what they would say Christmas specialties. You've got some bread here, you've got the hearts, some Lebkuchen stars and so forth. Farzang Ebola, if you've ever heard of glue wine, that would be what they, hot mulled wine is what they have at Christmas. It's in the markets, you can buy this. It's what you do to keep warm. If it's a very cold night, a lot of glue wine can be sold. And usually it has, you can see the glowing fire on top. They pour, this is a sugar cone. You pour rum on top of it and put it on fire. If you are in the market, your cup will have a spoon on top with a sugar cube, and they'll pour the rum on that, and it lights up, and this sugar cube will melt and drip into the wine and keep it warm. This is what says Music Capella, a brass band. I took a picture of them in Rothenburg, October. So that's a band, lots of bands playing and choirs singing in Christmas time. This is in a marketplace. It's a Christmas star that is shown there. Very colorful. You can buy these. And of course, December 6th, we got to have St. Nicholas. So this is what I pulled off the internet. I have a picture of Lebkuchen hearts that are sold during the time of Christmas and the markets. We have the Weihnachts Engel, the Christmas angel, and she's in Nuremberg. This is the one with the city of Nuremberg behind. These are some decorations I found downtown at the Guten Tag House that says Christmas decorations on there. This is another Schwiebogen. Schwiebogens come from the area of the Erzgebirge and Seifen, and if you drive up in there, the more common ones are arched, and you'll see one coming up. This is a Christmas tree, and they're lit, and this is one that I have in my home at Christmas. Another decoration that came from the area of the Erzgebirge is a Weihnachtschor, or a Christmas choir, that you might see, and these are for sale up there again. Another shot of Christmas angels. This was taken downtown again. Here's the Glühwein drinkers. You keep warm, you drink the Glühwein in the market especially, and if it's very, very cold, they sell a lot of it. They have something else called Schupfnudeln, which is sauerkraut with a special type of noodles, and it has meat in it, which is very popular at this time. This one you might be familiar with. You hide the pickle in the Christmas tree, and who can find the pickle? And I should probably move this down because it says there, a Weihnachtstradition, a Christmas tradition. And what would winter be without riding the sleds? You have the typical German sled that would be there. These are Rauchmunner. They're incense burners. You put a cone of incense in the inside, and the smoke will come out of their mouths right where you see the pipes are sticking out. So they're quite common at Christmas. This is another Schwiebogen. This is the more common ones you'll see in windows. And if you go to the area of the Erzgebirge, almost every window in the high, we put candles in. They put these Schwiebogen in. This is in the Lichthauser, the company that makes these little houses. I've been there numerous times and managed to buy a lot of them. This is a Christmas setup that they have. Some of the houses are neutral, so you can use them year-round. And all you have to do is change the decorations around them. So they're called lighthouses is what they are. And they put candles in them when they use them. Oops, wrong way. Here you have the pyramid. It's a candle pyramid, Christmas pyramid. Light the candles, it spins, and these are all little scenes from Christmas. Quite often there would be a nativity in one of them, the shepherds in another. This picture I took in the Minster last year. It says here the Kinder Church Service, and this was the pageant. They were doing the story of the birth of Jesus, and they had this very huge camel they dragged down with them. It was rather cute to see. Couple more of the Schwiebogen, different styles again. Candle holders that they have. These come from the area of the Erzgebirge again, and they deal something with the mines. And of course the nutcrackers that are very common. And of course I have here, this would be the 24th, I've got Santa Claus. This would come from Germany also, and then this would be Christmas Day, the birth of the Christ child. Now, as we mentioned earlier, on top of each one would be one of these in the windows of the city, of the various businesses, of the 1 to 25. So this gives you an idea of what we are looking at for a program there. So I met with the person who was supposed to make them for us, and the total price for the set of 50 banners is $300. And I guess that's a decision you have to work on yourselves if you want to do that. Will it be usable again? Yes, they're vinyl. They can be reused. They'll have to be stored. We'll have to check if the same businesses would participate. We have to work on that idea of getting the businesses to participate. So these are the banners I've prepared. They're all ready to be printed, but it has to wait for your approval to get them printed. I've talked to Marlene Domeyer. She has written up for me a nice description of what the Advent calendar is, and then I'm hoping to get into the newspaper to sort of kick us off with this. And so I appreciated her help with, I saw her last week, and she wrote this up and emailed it to me the other day. So I have a write-up on the Christmas market itself, and hopefully we get some pictures of some of the city halls I talked about earlier this year that show how they do this in their city halls.
This is where I wanted you to reference that $10,000 and change that we do have.
Now that you've done that for me, good. The money is there. It looks to me like you have the money there that's not, quote, city money, taxpayer money.
Right.
It's money that this organization and friends have earned over a period of time. There is a gentleman that wants to form a group to promote the German heritage of this town, instead of letting it go to where wherever it may go to keep promoting it. And Christmas time with the Advent calendar, I believe, is a good time to continue that German heritage. It doesn't have to be 365 days out of the year, but there are certain times when I think our German heritage comes out stronger, and can come out stronger than others. I like the idea. One extra idea for you, Jack, as long as you already have Marlene Domeyer with you, ask her if she would promote it on one of her Sunday radio shows, because it's well listened to, I'm told. I listen to it every chance I can, but it's not,
Yeah.
sometimes I can't.
She was very receptive and helpful for this, so.
I have a question about the photos. If it's a stock photo that you took from somewhere else, do we have the rights to some of these photos?
They were listed as public domain
Okay,
on the
that's,
sheet.
that's all I would care about.
And it
The
certainly would be a
majority
very-
are mine or I took in town here. They're from my home or for what I took in town. But there's just a couple I pulled off the net.
But I could see it being some good publicity for the commission. It's a very marketable news story, and perhaps KEYC would come over and do something with it too.
So if you're looking for a motion, I would move that we approve the expenditure of funds on the project.
Okay, which is about
$300.
Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second it.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the $300. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll be at
Uh,
the printer tomorrow morning.
Yes. Jack will now take the floor again for the kiosk update.
Okay, at the last meeting, I think it was, Doc Ann was here to show her example of the Ulmer spots we'd like to mount on top of our kiosk. I met with Tom Schmitz today, and he says, no problem, we can put it up there. I just have to find someone to install it who knows something about metal and connecting it all together. So if you have any names for me, please pass them on. But I haven't seen her to tell her, but we've got the permission to go ahead. It didn't have to go to the park rec per se, because this is a small item, and it goes right on the kiosk roof. There will be some minor costs, but there can't be a fortune on that.
Why don't we do a motion to approve that installation too? Somebody willing to?
I'll make a motion to approve the putting the Ulmer spots on top of the kiosk.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve the Ulmer spots. Any discussion? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6B is we're privileged to have Shane Geworth here tonight, who got back, I think, a week or so ago from his 4 months in Germany, and he has agreed to give his thoughts on his trip. Shane, the floor is yours.
We don't have to be too close to the microphone here or anything. But, I just wanted to start by saying that I am still every day absolutely humbled and appreciative of your choice to send me over there, and I revel in the privilege just about every chance that I can, and I'm so grateful that had happened the way that it did. I took a lot of lessons from there, and I think I spread just as much when I did my jobs. I guess I could start out by speaking about some of my work experience a little bit. I started off at Robert Bosch Hochschule, where I sat in and co-taught on some classes and also gave presentations about Minnesota and New Ulm to English classes and also to some other classes. That was informative not only for them but also for myself, because I got to actually legitimately see a German classroom and how it works, and seeing the subtle differences in educational procedures was absolutely eye-opening, and I think it's something that down the road, if I choose to, one of my goals is to perhaps teach at a university over here. I think that I could integrate some of the teaching styles that were used, because they seem to be outrageously effective in certain cases. And it was also an outrageous privilege to really dig into state history as well as New Ulm's history, and be able to actually inform people who had no idea just how much of a connection we actually have, both culturally and even geographically in some cases, you know, with the rivers and everything like that. I was able to kind of open a few eyes to Minnesota industry that has, you know, basis in New Ulm, and some of the cultural tendencies of the town that exist through their basis in the region. I loved also the idea of being able to learn another language while I was there. I had considered trying to pick up some French just because I knew of some French speakers who were in the area, and the person that they paired me with to really watch over my stay there happened to be the French teacher. So the only one at the time being, because everyone had been trying to learn English. So I had the ability to actually sit in on some French classes and learned a lot through him personally, and we still maintain a personal relationship, and he's quite the type. He actually loves Westerns and everything like that too, and just he's constantly pulling out references that I had no idea even existed in the culture over there. So that was just a beautiful thing. And then to the second job, I worked at the Gold Oakson Brewery, and I had the privilege of actually opening the bags for the batch of August Spock when I was over there. So I actually got to have a hand in producing, the cooperative beer that they put together. So that was a privilege in and of itself. But that was where I actually had my first real test with the language, because as some of you may know, they speak a dialect, Swabian in English, or Schwäbisch in German, and it is one of the heaviest dialects that I have ever had to deal with. In fact, the first day that I was working there, they kind of tried to structure it so that I would get basically the entire experience from grain to bottle. So I was in the brew house the first day, and my educator, if I would say that, actually was basically a farmer from the beginning of the Alps in the Allgäu region that exists over there, and he spoke such a deep dialect that I ended up having to actually draw the models of what he was explaining to me and kind of confirm them through a mixture of dialect and broken German. I had absolutely no doubts in my high German abilities. In fact, I had no problems doing all the governmental requirements and everything like that, and everything that I conducted over there was in German, but the Schwäbisch was an adventure all in its own, and I experienced that basically through most of the personnel at the brewery. So I had to pick up a little bit of that in the Neue Ulmer Zeitung, when they wrote about my stay there. They were just absolutely baffled at the fact that I had learned some Schwäbisch already. And they basically had this phrase that was the most important thing, and it's "no net hudle," which into High German translates to "nur nicht hetzen," or basically just don't rush, like take it easy. Essentially, it's like the Hakuna Matata of the region, and it was an absolutely beautiful little cultural experience that I got to learn. And from then on, I pulled it out whenever possible in the region, and it always got a hearty laugh. So I was just privileged to learn that little phrase. But no, I actually met some very, very unique individuals at the brewery as well. Very interested in craft brewing in their own time, but of course, because of the Reinheitsgebot or the purity laws, they aren't really allowed to produce it publicly and sell it. It has to be labeled as something other than beer. For example, if you were to do an IPA, which they had attempted to do, they called it the Ulmer Pale Ale. But I can tell you that it's not quite the pine cone dipped in syrup flavor of the American IPA. It was it was much more flavorful, and you could tell that it was purity law brewed. That was also a lesson in meeting people and not associating them with an image, because I had a brief chance to work in the marketing department as well. And my main overseer in the marketing department was actually, definitely perfect button-up suit tie type. But then he started talking about all the metal festivals that he goes to in his free time, and started showing me pictures of himself in a kilt and Vikings horns at these metal festivals. And it blew my mind. One of the most intelligent people that I had spoken to, and just so down to earth in his free time as well. So that was quite the unique experience. And then I moved on to it's called Europe Direct. So I think Michelle Malacha also worked at that office while she was there. And I worked under Frau Hemminger, which the committee has some connection with, as she helps with the organization. Essentially, I got to learn the ins and outs of the entire European Union, essentially. Like I got a crash course in the structure and got to know the functions of the major governing bodies and everything like that, and their connections to the city of Ulm, as well as Ulm's contribution to what the European Union does Europe-wide. I also had the chance to write an article comparing holidays, actually, and time off, which is also just a large topic that most Germans don't really quite understand. When seeing the American way of working, it's nonstop, go, go, go. Everything's production and streamline, and then they don't see that why don't we have more than 2 weeks off per year, depending on. It's like a government mandated 24 days of paid leave, I believe, in Germany. So getting to re-educate some people on that aspect was also very privileging, and I love to do the writing on that exactly. But I also had so many, I think the bulk of my experience had to have been just being introduced to a community that mirrored our own as far as hospitality and hardworking mentality and just pure character being portrayed. My first host family, the Malishes, were a prime example of that. The father worked as a director of basically a place where they put people into work for handworking, like any handworking skills, welders, anyone technically educated. So the director, I made the mistake of going in and asking for him one day, and I asked for Herr Melich, so just Mr. Melich, and they're like, do you mean Herr Dr. Melich? So, do you mean Mr. Dr. Melich? And I was like, yeah, no, sorry, host dad. I used to the labels, because you would never think to really address him as this, because he's just this down to earth, very intelligent and family committed person, and I was just aghast at his humility. This man is so important in the community, and he makes every effort to be there at every event that his children are a part of. Both his daughters are actually members of the Ulmer Spatz choir, and it was beautiful to see him make every effort to be a part of the children's lives. And for example, there were several nights where we would sit around the dinner table and speak about cultural differences or political differences between the U.S. and Germany. And for example, when speaking on the topic of university education and just what it costs American students, he would make it a point to stop and just like, did you all hear that? Did you hear that he's paying all of this and you are paying nothing? Just take a moment to realize this. So it was a beautiful thing, because this is a man that truly cares about his family and their well-being and their realizations of the privileges that they have and don't have. And I was just absolutely in awe of the character of this man. So I was more than privileged to be with his family. And of course, I had the equally wonderful privilege of being with Ellie's family for my second time around. Although it was a bit of an interesting adventure, taking the train every day to and from the city. It was about an hour commute. It was more than worth it. Just an equally wonderful family, and they made every attempt to make me feel like I was in a truly German home and everything like that. Especially with Ellie's experience here, she knows exactly what to accent when visiting. She even made the regionally traditional dish, Käsespätzle, is basically a souped-up German mac and cheese, if I can say that. But handmade the noodles from scratch, and then it's kind of like a separated small boiled noodle with mountain cheese, I guess is what it literally translates to, but it's kind of an artisan cheese that has a little bit of a sharp flavor to it. And then the way that she did is she got that in together and then baked it, and then they put some crisp fried sauteed onions on top of it to accent the flavor, and it is just amazing. I was absolutely impressed, and like her culinary skills are just as up to par with her personality, and I was just blown away. And then I rounded it off with being in kind of a unique family for my last one. It was the family Moreland, and it was primarily composed of just a husband and wife. The husband was from Ireland originally, but had moved to Germany, I'm assuming more or less to be with Sibylla, the wife. So it was an interesting mixture of, Denglish, we would say over there, but so just the combination of German and English constantly in the household. But everything was understood down to the T. So that was the first experience that I've really had with a functioning, not necessarily the place of work, but any time that a discussion was important by any means, everything was still understood regardless of the language barrier. So that was really unique. And then I got to meet the extended family as well when they came and visited. So that was also a unique privilege because the language switching even existed through that. And I hope I can get to the point someday where I could maybe be capable of doing that. And then just to touch a little bit further on some of my personal experiences, as he mentioned, I had taken an extra month to kind of make sure that I had taken full advantage of my time over there. And I was able to travel a little bit through the rest of Europe with my sister on the tail end of it. Excuse me. But I think what was most valuable to me was when I traveled during my stay there. I was fortunate enough to come across a ticket deal through Deutsche Bahn, which is abnormal at best, as most people would inform you. But essentially, it allowed any train in Germany at any time for about a month's time. And I made it a statement to travel anywhere that I could in the Swabian region. And I met people from basically like the shores of the Lake Constance. And I even made my way all the way up to Berlin in that time. But it's specifically in the region, I realized just how similar it was to life back here. And the people are almost identical. I think that one of the things that we need to take into consideration when, especially as Americans, we think about the rest of the world, is that we have our roots in the rest of the world. And you wonder where some of our traditions about treating other people and, the way we cook and the way we act come from. It's exactly that. It's from the rest of the world, and people are really the same no matter where you go. It's kind of what I realized through that. Specifically so with our ties and, just general brotherhood as, brotherhood as sister cities. Go figure that one. But I was just absolutely in awe, again, of just the quality of the people that I had met. And it seemed as though they were even more willing to put political differences aside in favor of making a community stronger and maintaining tradition. And so when I hear a committee like this still talking about making sure that we keep that tradition alive and well, especially like with your suggestion of the additions here, I can't help but think that that is one of the most vital things that we can do. And I had briefly mentioned it before I had left, that I was interested in maybe furthering some connections between New Ulm and Ulm and the region by trying to associate Mankato State University with the university in Ulm. I had met so many students over there that were even primarily speaking English, and I said, well, if there are English classes available, there's absolutely no reason why we couldn't try to work to set up some sort of connection between these universities to at least give the future generations of New Ulm the chance to really go back and experience their heritage as it should be seen. So that's going to be my project as soon as I go back, actually, is meeting with some of the university heads, as I made a new connection right before I left. And that's one of my primary goals, is to actually, as far as influencing this community and maintaining our siblingship, that is the most important thing to me right now. So once again, just since my voice is kind of running out here, I am so thankful that I had the opportunity to even apply for such a brilliant and well-maintained program, and I will forever be grateful for this experience, and I have nothing more to say than thank you, and I hope that we can continue this for centuries more, if possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Shane. We have one item of new business, and that is the recognition committee needs to get together and come up with a name for our next meeting to receive the, can't think what the award is called, just special recognition award. You have a list on your agenda of the people that received it since Dr. Ted was the first person back in 1998. That committee is Bob and Harold Remy and Jack. And so if you guys could arrange to get together and bring us a recommendation to the December meeting, it would be greatly appreciated. Are there any other announcements? Not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.